Well, let me think about that one. I've lived here for 10 years. I've been painting only for a year since not painting for 10 years. I was working in construction for the previous 10 years. And then that kind of dried up in this area, and I had this studio, which was empty at the time, and I realized I had to face that demon again and paint again, which I'd done previous to the 10 years, for roughly 10 years before that. So I've been painting since April, and fortunately I have a possibility of having a show at the mill around the corner in Millwood, Virginia, and so I have a place to take my paintings to right off the bat. I grew up a little bit in Pittsburgh, and then we moved to New York City, but it was in Pittsburgh where my father took us to the Carnegie Mellon Museum, and I was probably 7 years old, and clearly remember seeing, they had a small American painting collection, and I was fairly mesmerized as a child by it. I thought it was all a magic trick, actually. And I think that kind of stuck with me, and I think that's why somewhere that seed was planted in me, and I knew that I needed to possibly be a painter. And then when I was a teenager in New York City, it was just a pretty wild place to live, and you could kind of be creative and flourish, I guess, in that way. And then in college, I studied art, and then got out of college, and I didn't paint at all because I hit the wall of having to make a living, and that's how I fell into construction. So I did that for about 7 years, and then I realized I needed to paint again. I needed to find out if I was an artist or not an artist, because I didn't want to be a person who was constantly saying, "Oh, I should be an artist, or I should be a writer." And so I just took that leap of faith and painted for about 7 to 10 years. And then that kind of fell apart, and it took another 10 years to get back to the studio. But it feels good to be back to the studio. I had another burst of creativity, which I didn't think that's not always in one. You might have burnt out. So I had one last round.
The tablets with, I guess, hieroglyphics. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, they're sitting right next to you, actually. Those are a little bit meant to be a spoof. But they're also meant to be about, the mystery of language and the mystery of antiquities, and people discovering things and what do they mean, and people always saying, "What does it mean?" And, you gotta sometimes figure that out on your own. So if those go in the show, or if I show those to people, they're always asking, "What do they mean? Do they mean something?" And no, they don't mean anything. It's a made-up language. So it's meant to be a little bit of on the light side. For upcoming artists, that's a tough one too. I guess it goes back to either you believe in yourself, and you have to determine that and follow that creative voice and reason, and you have to do it. And there may be no money in it, and you can't stop there. You got to just keep going for it. But it's a tough road, so good luck, I guess.